So we're going to do a Holter placement today. I'm going to start by shaving. There are 7 ECG patches that we need to shave spots for. 3 on the left thorax, 3 on the sternum, and 1 on the right thorax. We take care to shave all the way down to the skin, not leaving any stubble behind, so that the ECG patches have good contact and the adhesive sticks for the full 24 hours. Girl. The heart is very far cranial, so we try to shave as close to the elbow as possible, but not too far in front, so that the bandage, when it goes around the thorax, will cover all of our shaved areas, but not interfere with the leg motion. I'm going to come around to this side, trade sides with you for one moment while we shave the last spot. Good girl. Super. Good girl. People sometimes ask us if we can do a Holter without shaving, but really the results are terrible without cutting the hair away. The ECG tracing, if it's not very good and clear, invalidates the 24 hours of Holter time, so it puts the dog in an uncomfortable position and it doesn't give us great data. You might as well not do it without a good clean shave. So next we do a little gentle exfoliation. We use a product called New Prep Skin Prep Gel, used for MRIs, EEG patches, ECGs. Anything that has a little bit of an exfoliating quality to it works well. You can use alcohol in a pinch. You just want to do a gentle scrub to clean the area, get rid of the dead skin cells and bits of hair. This will help the ECG patches stick better, improve the adhesive, but it also decreases the electrical impedance of the skin. You have a clearer ECG tracing. Good girl. I know it's itchy. All right. After that's applied, you just want to wipe it off so it's dry. You and I can trade sides again for the last turn. Good girl. I'll be able to do the rest of the placement from this side. What a good girl. So the next step is a little bit of skin adhesive. We use Mastisol. This dries to a very sticky finish, very similar to pine sap. So we use a couple of swabs and apply that lightly across the area where the ECG patches will be applied and allow it to dry. I know, it's a little itchy baby. Good girl. So we'll let that air dry just a little bit while we attach our ECG leads to our ECG patches. It works better if you attach the leads to the patches before you try to place them on the dog. Our ECG monitor runs on a AA battery, and it has a data card that will record 24 hours of ECG. Press any button to turn it on. You're being very patient. There are 7 ECG leads that are arranged in 3 pairs with 1/7 lead left over as a reference or grounding lead that helps to minimize motion artifact of the ECG. ECGs really hate motion, and putting an ambulatory ECG on a dog that's going to be following its normal routine for 24 hours poses a lot of challenge for that ECG to have a clear, steady recording. So we try to find a place to put the grounding lead that will have a minimum of motion artifact. Will help to improve the quality of the recording in the other 6 leads. So we'll start on the left side with the red lead, and we'll place that on the lower left thorax over the strongest impulse of the heartbeat, and apply a little gentle pressure to make good contact with the skin adhesive. Next, we'll apply the green lead just above the red one. Again, a little gentle pressure so that it makes good contact with the adhesive. And then the blue lead on the upper part of the left thorax. Good girl. We'll move to the sternal leads. And the black lead will go in the front of the sternum, just behind the elbows. The orange lead will go just behind the black lead on the sternum. And the brown lead will go in the back. So you have 3 leads in a row: black, orange, and brown. The final white lead will go on the right side. Good girl. Once all of your leads are attached, you can pick up your monitor and advance to the review screens. Make sure we have a good quality recording in all 3 leads. oftentimes the baseline will be a little bit heavy at the beginning until the gel on the ECG patch makes good contact with the skin and really absorbs. So you can see the baseline clearing up a little bit as the seconds go by. So those tracings all look very good. We'll go ahead and start our recording. And that will put the countdown clock on and take the ECG away. Then we will wrap our Holter leads in place. So we gather up all of our leads on the left side and under the stomach and leave a little bit of slack on the white lead that has the furthest to go. We want to bundle all of our wires on the left side and under the stomach so that the right upper side is clear for cutting the bandages off later without cutting any leads. So we start with very wide gauze and we wrap all of our leads in place using a lot of overlap with the bandage material. Good girl. You don't want to use any stretch at this point. We don't want this to be tight. We just want a nice wide overlap of smooth bandage to contain all of those wires and keep them from sliding around. The next layer will be cast padding. We're going to use a nice wide 4-inch cast padding. If you have a cat or a small dog, like a teacup dog, you can use 2-inch vet wrap or 2-inch bandage supplies, but otherwise you want to use 4-inch, the largest you have available. So we start around the thorax and shoulders. We want to make some good shoulder straps so that the bandage stays in place in the cranial thorax and doesn't slide off over the back of the dog. Use a second roll. Fraying the ends of the bandage helps it to grip to the underlying bandage layer. Good girl. Okay, after the cast padding, we'll use a little bit of vet wrap around the shoulders to make nice stretchy straps to help preserve range of motion as much as possible. We want the halter to be snug but not uncomfortable, and we don't want it to restrict normal motion and activities too much. So we've pre-loosened the vet wrap, and we use very, very minimal stretch to apply. More rolling the bandage on instead of stretching and wrapping. Good girl. A couple of passes around the shoulders and cranial thorax are perfect. Then we'll move on to our elasticon. The elasticon is like veterinary duct tape, and we'll seal in all of these layers so they won't rub off during normal activities. Again, we've pre-loosened our vet wrap roll so that it doesn't have a lot of stretch as we apply it. This is much like an ace bandage, and if it's too snug, it can become problematic very quickly. So again, we unwrap and place instead of stretching and wrapping. Try to maintain about a 50% overlap with the bandage material so that it doesn't cause pressure sores. 24 hours usually isn't enough time for that to happen, but we want it to be as comfortable as possible. Good girl. So we just press the bandage in place, make sure that the adhesive has made good contact everywhere. And then at this point, we can loosen the shoulders up a little bit to make sure that there's nice, good range of motion all the way around. Good girl. And we're just about finished. The last few steps just help to make it more comfortable. We're going to use a little bit of roll gauze in front of the shoulders to tie these straps together. This will keep them from getting stretchy and falling down over the legs, tripping, or even coming over the leg and letting the bandage slide off. Good girl. And then we'll do one up on top on the shoulders. It's folded in half. We'll wrap it around the cord and pass the ends through the loop so that we can kind of tack up the slack on the shoulders. Good girl. Super. Now we'll draw a dotted line on the right side of the bandage where it's safe for the owner to cut off at home, or if someone assists you later who wasn't involved in the placement, on the upper right thorax, away from all of the wires. Good girl. All right, just about finished. The finishing step is a little t-shirt or vest with a pocket that will hold the monitor and keep everything contained so that it's not tempting to housemates or low-riding furniture and other things that might cause the patient to be uncomfortable at home. Good girl. Whoops. Good girl, looking great. We'll bundle up the extra wire around the monitor so that there's no slack sticking out, and tuck that away into the pocket. Button it in, and she's all set. Good girl.